Welcome back to the Holotable Maintenance Bay. Today we're talking about that dirty little GAC tactic that really works. Thanks for stopping into the bay. I'm Maleran Blivet. I wanted to give a quick thanks to all of you that have subscribed to the broadcasts or thrown that intergalactic symbol of encouragement, the thumbs up button down below. And those of you that have mentioned something in the transmission section below, we really appreciate it back here at the bay. We've reached 100 subscribers. Thank you for being a part of this journey. And thank you for keeping those holotables humming. Well, let's take a look at a GAC that just completed, where I was able to eke out a win against an opponent in which I was really outgunned. And to any of you that are up against a GAC opponent and you're really outgunned, they've got a roster that's just so much heavier than yours, and you know you can't beat them. And sometimes you might feel like it's just no use going up against them because it's such an unfair match. Congratulations, because that means you're playing out of your class. Good job. When you get an opponent that's that strong, that means that even though your account has less to it, the holotable algorithms are matching the two of you together. So, well done. So let's take a look at a match that I was able to eke out a win here in round one. So how was I able to get this win? So this is a tactic that I use sometimes. First thing I do when the match begins is I set up my strategy. And I do that with just a note on my mobile data pad here. It's just a text note. I list who's in the top left area, who's in the bottom left area, and I just list those, and then I list the possible counters that would work against them. That way I'm able to see, am I able to take out both of those platforms? How many of those counters require the same squad to go up against it? So it's just a quick plan. It might look something like this. It could literally be as simple as this. So I've got my strategy all planned out, and I know how I'm going to go. But the first thing I do, right when the match begins, is I only do one battle, take those banners, and then stop. So for instance, I might do the Quadme Bane counter, and then I just pause right there for about the next 20 hours or so. Why would I do that? Even if I lose that first battle, I'll just take the 10 banners from doing my first attempt. And believe it or not, even if you get those 10 banners, keep in mind your opponent might do nothing. People actually win with 10 banners because your opponent might be busy. They might be traveling or doing something more important. Maybe they're with family. Maybe they're stuck in hyperspace and are just not going to be able to play GAC at all this round, and therefore you'd still get the win. But what I'm making it look like when I only get 65 banners by doing that, or even 10 banners by doing that one battle early on, is I make my opponent think that I must be a very busy person and I'm going to be too busy to play GAC this round. Because a lot of times people will just do that one battle, they're just too strapped for time. But allowing them that one battle gets them the participation credits. So they still get the amount of crystals and those gold GAC doubloons that come even when you lose the match. But if you look at your opponent and say, oh, I'm outgunned, and do nothing, you don't get those bonuses. So by all means, even if you are sure your opponent can absolutely wipe the holotable with you, still put in one battle. And if you lose, take those 10 first attempt banners. You'll still get those credits for getting into second place. The worst you can get in GAC is second place in an individual match. But that's what I'm making my opponent think, is that if I've only got those 73 banners, oh, my opponent, Maleran Blivet, is just too busy. He's too busy working back in the Holotable Maintenance Bay, fixing up holotables and polishing Zinbil cards. He doesn't have time to play GAC. And so my opponent, who's also busy, will only do enough battles to get slightly more banners. They might not have the time to do a complete run on all of my squads. especially when you're in Kyber. There are so many squads and so many battles, it takes a lot of time. So that's what happened in this case. My opponent, I only had 65 banners or so. My opponent got 154 and figured, hey, I'm golden. I've got enough banners to beat this guy. He did one battle in the very beginning and has done nothing for 20 plus hours. I think I'm fine. That's where the ruse comes in. Because about 15 or 20 minutes before the GAC match ends, I go back to my plan. I go back to my original plan, and I usually start with the bottom tier because that allows me to see who's in the bottom right-hand area. But I just go as fast as I can, gathering banners as many as possible in that last 20 minutes. It's not enough to do a full clear, but keep in mind, my opponent has done nothing for hours either. He thinks he's done just enough to get by, beating me, without spending all the time doing a full clear or getting as far as he can. And let me tell you, those next 20 minutes are so exciting. Especially, sometimes what will happen, I don't have notifications enabled. Do you have notifications enabled? Please tell me in the comments, if someone begins attacking you, does it alert you and let you know? Because sometimes what will happen is I start gathering banners and my opponent sees what's happening and then they start gathering banners. And it's this race to the finish. It's like a whole new game mode. How many banners can you get in 20 minutes? And suddenly we're both doing as many battles as we can, as fast as we can in that limited time period to see, can we get enough to eke out a win? In this particular case, I went from 65 banners to 373 banners. Again, I was outgunned. There were certain squads that I would have been able to take over if I had more time, but there were some squads that I just wasn't going to be able to take, and I knew it. So I tried this strategy, and it worked. It's worked a couple times. A couple times I haven't been able to be fast enough, and this race to the finish, my opponent still beats me. But it's a dirty little GAC trick that does work. And here's an example. I mean, final score was 373 to 154. He could have completely taken out all my squads. He just didn't have the time. But he did do enough to beat my initial score. But then with those last 20 minutes, I did a mad dash for banners and was able to get a win. So maybe you already knew that strategy. Maybe you've already used it. But if you haven't, think about it. Because like I said, it almost becomes a whole new game mode. Speed GAC in those last precious moments before the match ends. Well, thanks again for stopping back here in the Holotable Maintenance Bay. Keep those holotables humming, and may the force be...
Maleran, I need your help. Someone's bantha left a present at the cantina entrance. Go handle that, would you?
Yeah, right away, Faye. I gotta get back to work.